name is Joseph Crane, and this is the Earth Collective. Since it's been a while since my last transmission, I'm going to go ahead and recap what this transmission is going to be about. In our collective, in our society, there are members that are called the caste. They are those that have lost their vehicles and weren't able to acquire a new one. Because of that, they are forced to walk alongside our caravan as we drive along Oasis, the planet we're on. We drive along to stay away from the dark, and the castes have to walk beside us because they can't afford to get a new vehicle. Sometimes there are more than one people castes. That's kind of one of the issues with living in a larger vehicle. There are a lot of perks to it, but the problem is sometimes when a large vehicle is broken down and everybody on board doesn't have the credits to pitch in to fix it, that large vehicle cannot be repaired, and there are large waves of castes. That's very rare, but it does happen. Most of the time, the castes are composed of people that weren't able to afford a spot on a large caravan. They had to either be in a small one or be on their own. That's a little bit more dangerous and not quite as easy living. So most of the castes are composed of peoples whose personal vehicles have broken down, and them and their family are now out on the side of the path. I'm talking specifically in this broadcast about a certain phenomenon called the long line of cars. And this pertains to the castes because only the castes ever see the long line. Now, a lot of people think that I'm wasting my time or that I might be crazy looking into the long line of cars, because almost everybody assumes and believes that this long line of cars phenomenon is nothing more than hallucination by the people close to insanity. But I wanted to take a deeper look. We're only here once, and I feel like we should remember everything about our society as best we can. There aren't any more historians, and I don't like that. I want us all to be remembered, and that's what I'm going to do. And the long line storyline really caught my attention. Not so much what it was. Here, let me tell you what it was. It's a caste will see a long line of cars out on the horizon. It's like a caravan. It's like our caravan, but it's out on the horizon and it's not ours. The thing that really caught my attention of the long line of cars, and I'm not sure if anybody's put this together or not before me, because I'm not sure anybody even cares enough to pay attention, but the interesting thing is the phenomenon or the hallucination, the vision of the long line of cars is the same for every caste. And that wouldn't be such a big deal if they were all together, but they're not. Sometimes they do gather together, but they're not always. And when someone becomes cast in a forward segment, and they haven't made it to the back to where many other castes are, they will still talk about the long line of cars. Now you could say that they're making it up. It's their own figment of their imagination because they grew up hearing about other castes talking about it, so now they're tricking themselves into seeing it. Okay, yeah, that's a possibility. But I don't know. I can understand some more of the frail-minded people doing that, convincing themselves that they're seeing the same thing that everybody else did, but I have a hard time believing that everybody does that. Everybody is able to convince themselves of a completely radical thing on the horizon that only someone else can see, and it all happens to look exactly the same to everybody. And that doesn't sit right with me. So I decided to look into it, and I found something. I found out what it is, and I'll be honest with you, it has me a little worried, a little scared for my safety. I'll explain that later. Let me back up a little bit and start at the beginning about how I came to my conclusions, because I don't really believe them. I have a hard time believing them myself. So I'm going to need to tell whoever is listening to this broadcast, I need to tell you why I came to my conclusion, so you don't think I'm crazy like I almost do. We'll start at the beginning. Since my last broadcast, I decided to do some more in-depth digging. And in order to do this digging, I needed some time off, but luckily, we had just come to the end of a straightway. Usually when the collective comes to the end of a straightway, we take a break. We stop all the vehicles and we relax. The straightaways allow us to go really fast and to get away from the dark, so we have quite a long time before the dark even gets close to us. So we usually take that opportunity to rest, to harvest some plants, to do extra repairs and all that kind of stuff. So we were at the end of a straightway, and me and my crew and the other repair crews from other segments have finished up most of our repairs. So there wasn't much to do, luckily, because that gave me time to investigate the long line of cars. Now, you might not know much about our society, but movement through segments is not really advised, mostly because each segment they have their own way of doing things for the amount of people that are there. They have very specific systems and ways set up for the people that are already there. So moving in between them, except for trade, is ill-advised. However, I was able to move through without a whole lot of hassle because of a friend of mine named Arthur. He's in the guard, and because of his position that he has gotten himself to, he is able to do a little convincing to the people that would have normally questioned my motives and why I was there, and ask them to essentially leave me alone. Because of Arthur, I was able to move through the segments pretty easily. Now, as I was moving through the segments, I did find some casts. A lot of them do tend to stick together because they help each other out. The people with the vehicles don't really tend to. Only a select few kind-hearted people actually help them with clothes and food and things like that. I was able to find them, and I was able to talk to them. Most of the time, people don't talk to them, so to have company, most of them enjoyed it. Many of them were weary of me. Why would someone that wasn't casts want to talk to the casts? But most of them were happy to talk to me. In order to get you closer to my investigation, to get you, the listener, whoever finds these recordings on Orbiter 1 and listens to this, in order to make it as real as possible, and so you can hear the evidence yourself, I was actually able to procure a small recorder, and I brought it with me, and I had it recording when I was talking to people. And I think that was helpful because now I can let you listen to what I heard, listen to my conversations out in the field outside of my quarters. So that's what I have for you today. Now, what I did when I talked to the cast, I asked them their names and where they came from, and just the basic info. Who are they? Because I don't want to forget them. And I was going to play that for you, but then something more interesting happened, and I thought that maybe it would be better for you to hear this instead. When I was talking to them about their names and who they were and all that, they were perfectly fine. They didn't have any problems, but when I brought up a long line of cars, essentially none of them were willing to talk to me about it. Here, I have a recording for one. When I talked to him about the long line of cars, he flat out refused. Here, listen. How long have you been cast?
About half a cycle.
Have you ever seen the long line of cars?
My goodness, I don't know if I want anything to do with that. I don't want to talk about that right now. That's not something we want to talk about.
And that was it. He refused. He didn't want to talk to me after that. He kind of just walked away and wouldn't answer any more of my questions. I talked to another cast after that, and this one was interesting. I asked him about the long line of cars and just listen to what happened. Listen to what he did. What is your name?
Joey.
Okay. Thanks for talking to me. How long, if you don't mind me asking, how long have you been cast?
I'd say cycle, maybe a cycle.
Wow. Okay. Have you ever seen the long line of cars?
Wait, what? What? Hold on, wait. What are you asking me?
Have you ever seen the long line of cars?
Why are you asking me those questions? No, I'm not going to answer that question. Okay, that's not something I'm going to answer. Who sent you?
Nobody sent me.
Who sent you? Someone's. You know what? I'm not going to answer your questions. I'm done with this. Don't try to get me to answer those questions. I can't do that. I'm not answering that question. You leave me alone. You don't talk to me. You leave me alone.
He kept running until I couldn't see him anymore. I don't know why, but I think it's pretty clear. Well, either he's scared or he's lost it. Now, after I know what I know, I would say it's both. But I think he had seen it. So here I was with a group of casts, and as you heard, they didn't really want to talk about the long line of cars. That's not really that surprising, because they had been around for quite some time. So they were tired, they were exhausted, they had been subject to much abuse by everybody else. So I moved forward. I moved forward in the segments of the caravan, and I was only able to find one cast. As I explained last time, it's not really that surprising because people farther forward don't really get casts very often. I was able to find one, and I thought maybe this guy might be able to shed some light on the situation, right? Well, being farther forward in the segments, I should have expected his response. He's an opportunist. I asked him about the long line of cars, and this is what he told me. So, how long have you been cast?
About a quarter of a cycle.
Have you seen the long line of cars?
Well, you got any credits for me?
I don't have any credits to spare. I just want to talk about it.
Well, okay. If you got no credits, then I got nothing to say.
And that was it. He wouldn't talk to me after that. Nothing more. Honestly, I'm not even sure he's seen the long line of cars. But I couldn't afford to give him any credits just to hear a story that might not even be true. At that point, I was a little tired, I'm a little exhausted, and I was getting annoyed. I figured I had pretty much ran out of information. I didn't know where else to go. And then the thought hit me, if I had ran out of information, why don't I go to someone who never does? And now it's time for me to introduce you to Auntie Denny. Auntie Denny is no one's aunt. She is everyone's auntie. On the surface, her profession is a cook. She's nice, big, loving, very kind, very helpful, friendly to everybody that comes to her caravan. However, anybody that knows anything knows that she's also a dealer of information. She deals and trades in favors, information, rumors, and all that kind of stuff. It's a lucrative business for her. So I went to talk to her. Me and her have known each other for quite a while, but I still took my recorder. I wouldn't want to miss out on anything. I'm going to play my interview with her, because she was willing to talk, and I'm grateful for that. So here's what she had to say. Auntie Denny.
Oh, hi! I haven't seen you for a while. Come on in. Hey, I'm just making some new sauce here. You want to try it?
Yeah, sure.
Well?
It's actually pretty good.
Good. Here, have a seat. Tell me what you're looking for.
What? I'm not allowed to come see my favorite cook without needing something?
No one does, sweetheart. Come on now. Fess up. What you need?
Okay, I'll admit, I'm investigating the cast right now just because I'm trying to chronicle everybody's history, and I want to chronicle theirs too. Do you know anything about them that you can tell me?
As a matter of fact, since I do have food left over sometimes, I try to find casts that are alongside the caravan and disperse it out as evenly as I can, and through doing that, I've learned quite a bit.
Have you heard about the long line of cars?
Of course.
Do you think it's real?
I'm not sure. We've heard about it for a long time. It never changes.
Well, how do you know that we've heard about it for a long time?
Well, I used to know a cast. His name was Borth.
Uh-huh.
And he was a bookkeeper back when the collective cared about that kind of stuff. He kept this journal, a leather-bound journal, and he kept detailed records of his life, even after he became a cast.
Really?
In the journal, he talks about life as a cast, and extensively about that long line.
Really? Well, that's fantastic. Can I have it?
Of course.
Yeah, I know that smile, right? I can have it for a favor, right?
Right in the Gorgon's eye, my friend.
Well, what do you want for it?
Don't know yet. But when I do, I will call on you.
Deal. Oh, after that, we chatted a little bit more. I'm not going to play it for you because it was just meandering. She did give me Borod's journal. And here's where the interesting thing is. His journal has got to be one of the most detailed journals I've ever seen. He kept writing every little detail and theories after he became cast. And she's right, he did write a lot about the long line of cars. According to Borth, the long line of cars is seen out on the horizon by only the cast. That we already knew. But the interesting thing is it's not seen by casts right away. He was able to find that out because he was able to talk to the cast. They talked to him. He was one of them. So he found out more than I was able to. According to Borth, it's very attractive. So much newer and cleaner. And he would just look back and he would look at our caravan and he would just be disgusted about how dirty it is and how little people cared. And oh, of course, he wondered if it was real or not, especially at the beginning. He thought maybe he was having hallucination. Boris theorized, after he did his own small investigation, that the casts only start seeing the long line of cars when they're close to death. And that's what has me worried. Auntie Denny pointed me in the direction of a cast that she knows that has been around for a long time. His name is Jerry. His name was Jerry. So, after I read the notebook, I went and talked to Jerry. What happened? Well, I recorded it all, but what happened, I can't really explain it. So, I'm gonna hit play. It's up to you to decide if I'm gonna hit play, and you listen for yourself. You come to your own conclusions, but this is what happened. What segment were you originally from?
12,
Okay, how long were you in that segment?
2 years.
That's a long time. How have you survived this long?
By any means I can. Just because I'm cast doesn't mean I don't want to live anymore.
I know, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry, but I have another question to ask. Have you seen the long line of cars?
Why are you asking that? Do you think I'm crazy?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I believe you. I know, I believe it's something. So have you seen it?
Yes. I've actually seen it for a very long time.
Where have you seen the long line?
I've seen it everywhere.
What do you mean, everywhere?
As we're driving around the planet, I see it everywhere.
So you're telling me that it follows us?
I don't know if it follows us, but I've seen it. It's everywhere. In places cars shouldn't be.
What do you mean?
Well, I've seen it up in the mountains and the ridges where it shouldn't be, and then I see it down in the valleys.
Down in the valleys right after it's on top of the mountains?
Right after, when we come down, it's there, and cars shouldn't be able to do that. You probably think I'm crazy, but I'm not. I see what I see.
What does the long line of cars look like to you?
It looks new, shiny, and you're just drawn to it to look at it because it looks so new. When it's over a ridge, I can see the light shining over the hill, and it just looks nice.
You know, I read a lot that when the cast starts seeing it, eventually they go missing. If you've been seeing it for so long, how come you haven't gone towards it yet?
I just can't leave.
Why is that?
I just can't bring myself to leave my wife.
Your wife's here. I don't see her around.
Well, she passed long ago, but I just can't bring myself to leave.
What is your wife's name?
Her name's Teresa.
Do you know of any? Have you met any other casts that have seen the long line of cars?
Yes, I've met many that have seen it.
Do you know? I mean, they're not here anymore. So do you know why they left? Why they would choose to go to the long line of cars?
No, just that it looks inviting. It looks so new, unlike what we're at, and they're drawn to it.
Do you see the long line of cars right now?
Yes, I do.
Where is it at?
It's right there.
Do you want to go to it?
Yes, I do.
If you go to it, we'll never see you again.
Well, it's not like I have anybody to see me now, so why would I stay? There's nothing left for me here.
I then asked him to stay there so I could go in and take a look at the hilltop that he pointed at. I walked in that direction for a while, but then I couldn't see anything. As I was about to turn around, I heard him walk up behind me. I tried speaking to him, but he just wouldn't listen.
Jerry, what are you doing? Jerry, stop. Jerry, can you hear me? Jerry, stop.
So I followed his gaze up the top of the hill, and on the crest stood two figures. And that's when I heard him say it.
Teresa?
Then he started walking up the hill. As he started walking up, one of the figures started walking down. They simply passed each other without even looking, and the figure kept walking towards me. As it got closer, my head started hurting. It felt as if it was being cleaved in half. I couldn't stand anymore and I fell to my knees. I could feel the entity getting closer to me. I felt uncomfortable in my own skin as it got closer. My recorder captured what it said.
You do not belong here. You are not for us yet.
And in the next instant, my head stopped hurting. I was able to open my eyes, and as I did, I looked around and I saw nothing. There was nothing there anymore. Jerry was gone too. I can't explain what happened, and I'm not going to try. Perhaps Borth was right. Maybe the long line of cars are the casts that have died in our collective. Maybe they manifest themselves in vehicles that will never break, so they'll never be forgotten again. I don't know if that's true. I don't know what is the truth. You come to your own conclusions. Looks like my time's up. This is just...
Joseph,
You?
I need to talk to you.
Who are you?
My name is Emma. I saw how you were with the cast, and I think I can trust you.
What's your point?
We need to meet.